my dear friends and my respective teachers. I am Pratiksha Viswas from class 7D of Julian Day School, Ganganagar, and welcome to all of you in the second edition of the Biology Digital Magazine. This magazine will be very interesting as the students will be talking about 4 unsung heroes who have worked immensely in the field of science for our betterment and improvement in knowledge. But unfortunately, they have been badly criticized by the society and didn't get any such acknowledgement in their whole life. So, the scientists we will be talking about are Dilip Mahalanobis, Dr. Subhash Mukhopadhyay, Grigor Juvan Mendel, and Dr. Ignace Philip Semmelweis. So let's see what the student will be talking about these scientists in much more detail.
Hello everyone, I am Achinto Kumar Dashkar of class 11B. Today I am going to speak about the life and contribution of Dr. Dilip Mahalanobis. Dr. Dilip Mahalanobis, born on 12th November 1934, is an Indian pediatrician known for pioneering the use of oral rehydration therapy to treat diarrheal diseases. In the mid-1960s, he did a research on cholera and other diarrheal diseases at the Johns Hopkins International Center for Medical Research and Training in Calcutta. During the Bangladeshi War for Independence, he led the efforts by the Johns Hopkins Center that demonstrated the dramatic life-saving effectiveness of oral rehydration therapy when cholera broke out in 1971. In 1994, he was elected a foreign member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. In the 1990s, he served as the Director of Clinical Research at the International Center for Diarrheal Disease Research. He was awarded the Pauling Prize in 2002 and the Prince Mahibul Award in 2006. Thank you everyone.
I am Prisha Ghosh from class 10, section A, and I am going to speak about the Indian biologist Dr. Subhash Mukhopadhyay. Dr. Subhash Mukhopadhyay created history when he became the first physician in India to perform in vitro fertilization, resulting in the birth of Durga, who is better known by the name Kanupriya Agarwal. On 16th January 1931 at Hazaribagh, Bihar, Dr. Satyendranath Mukherjee and Mrs. Jyotsna Devi were blessed with a baby boy who they named Subhash. Dr. Satyendranath Mukherjee was a well-known radiologist and they were descendants of a renowned Kritibas who decoded the epic Ramayana in Bengali. Subhash studied in the Khelat Chandra School in Calcutta for a few years where he treasured his memories of learning Bengali under the great novelist Vibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. He completed his matriculation from Bowbazar High School in 1st Division, followed by ISc from Surendranath College. He studied BSc in Physiology in 1949 from University of Calcutta. He studied MBBS in 1955 from the Calcutta National Medical College, standing first in obstetrics and gynecology, for which he received the Himankini Scholarship and College Medal. He later earned a PhD in 1958 from the Rajbazar Science College campus of University of Calcutta in reproductive physiology under the stewardship of Professor Sachidananda Banerjee. Later, he earned his second PhD from the University of Edinburgh in 1967 in reproductive endocrinology. From 1967 to 1975, he worked as a lecturer, reader and professor of physiology at NRS Medical College, Kolkata. He created history when working with Sunit Mukherjee, a cryobiologist, and gynecologist Dr. Saroj Kanti Bhattacharya. He became the first physician in India and second in the world after British physicians Patrick Steptoe and Robert Edwards to perform in vitro fertilization, resulting in a test tube baby, Durga, on 3rd October 1978. Facing social ostracization, bureaucratic negligence, reprimand and insult instead of recognition from the West Bengal state government and refusal of the government of India to allow him to attend international conferences, he committed suicide in his Calcutta residence on 19th June 1981. His feat has been given belated recognition as the Indian physician who in 1986 was officially regarded as being the first doctor to perform in vitro fertilization in India. His recognition is attributable to T.C. Anand Kumar, who is credited to be the mastermind behind India's second, officially the first Test jubilee. Kumar came to the conclusion that he was not the first after reviewing Subhash Mukhopadhyay's personal notes. He was ably helped by Sunit Mukherjee, who was a one-time colleague of Mukhopadhyay. Kumar was involved in setting up a research institute in reproductive biology in the memory of Mukhopadhyay. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Upasana Das from 8B Julian Day School, Ganganagar. Today I am going to talk on a famous scientist, Gregor John Mendel. He was a great meteorologist, mathematician and biologist. He was born in 20 July 1822 to Anton and Rosine Mendel. He died in 6 January 1884. He is famously known as father of modern genetics. In 19th century, it was commonly believed that an organism's traits were passed on to offspring in a blend of characteristics donated by each parent. Heredity was poorly understood in general, and the concept of gen did not exist at all. However, Austrian monk Gregor Mendel was unconvinced with traditional explanations of how traits were passed from one generation to another. Between 1856 and 1863, Mendel decided to try and work out the principles of heredity himself, with the assistance of the humble garden pea, that is, Pisum sativum L. Among the many species on which Mendel worked, he selected pea because the plants and seeds have a wide array of distinct features that occur in two easily identifiable forms, like seed shape, round and ring-tailed, plant height, tall or short. The pea flower is another useful feature of these plants, as it ensures that the flowers of the hybridized and parent plants are protected from any foreign pollen. Relatively short growth period is another advantage, meaning there was not a long wait for the results. Over 8 years, Mendel studied pea traits one at a time and crossbreed variants to systematically record how traits were passed from one generation to the next. His tasks approximately involved 28,000 pea plants. Mendel's study produced astonishing results and found very similar patterns of inheritance from all 7 features he studied. He also identified a consistent mathematical formula that explained the frequency with which each trait appeared and observed dominant and recessive traits. Despite the results being published in the Proceedings of the Bone Society for the Study of Natural Sciences in 1866, Mendel's work was widely ignored by the scientific community during his lifetime. Before Mendel's experiment on the garden peas, Thomas Andrew Knight in 1799 and John Gross in 1822, both from England, had carried out breeding experiments with the same plant, but they failed to discover the hereditary mechanism. The new field was born and Mendel became regarded as the father of genetics, although the term gen and genetics were coined much later. Thank you.
Good morning, my dear friends and my respected teachers. I am Anishka Shah from class 9C. I am here to speak about Hungarian physician Dr. Ignaz Philipp Semmelweis. He was born on 1st July 1818 in Buda. He was the 5th child who was born to Teresia Müller and Joseph Semmelweis. While working as a shopkeeper, his friends educated him. Semmelweis attended grammar school in Buda and he finished his primary education at the Catholic Gymnasium of Buda in 1835. After his primary education, Semmelweis left Buda in 1837 to study law at the University of Vienna in Vienna, Austria. Semmelweis studied law on the advice of his father. Described as the savior of mothers, Semmelweis discovered that incidence of the puerperal fever, also known as childbed fever, could be drastically cut by the use of hand disinfection in obstetrical clinics. Puerperal fever was common in the mid-19th century hospitals and often fatal. Semmelweis proposed the practice of washing hands with chlorinated lime solutions in 1847 while working in Vienna General Hospital's first obstetric clinic, when doctors had 3 times the mortality of midwives' ward. He published a book of his findings, etiology, concept, and prophylaxis of childbed fever. Despite various publications of results where hand washing reduced mortality to below 1%, Semmelweis' observation conflicted with the established scientific and medical opinions of the time, and his ideas were rejected by the medical community. He could offer no acceptable scientific explanation for his findings, and some doctors were offended at the suggestion that they would wash their hands and mocked for him. In 1865, the years of rejection by the colleagues in the medical almost certainly took its toll on Semmelweis. He suffered from several depression and may have suffered from premature dementia, as he became a very absent-minded and when in public invariably turned all of his conversations into one concerning childbed fever. After the effective rejection in 1861 work on puerperal fever, he wrote a series of open letters to main critics in which he openly called them ignorant murderers, and he was also mocked for him. In 1865, the increasingly outspoken Semmelweis supposedly suffered a nervous breakdown and was committed to an asylum by his colleagues. In the asylum, he was beaten by the guards. He died 14 days later from a gangrenous wound on his right hand that may have caused by the beating. Semmelweis' practice earned widespread acceptance only years after his death, when Louis Pasteur confirmed the germ theory and Joseph Lister acted on the French microbiologist's search, practiced and operated using hygienic methods with great success. Thank you.
Firstly, we want to thank the Almighty for gifting us the sense of recognition and understanding this world around us. We want to thank our Managing Trustee Mrs. S. E. Broughton and our Chairman Sir Mr. J. G. Broughton for their continuous support on us. Special thanks for our Principal Sir Mr. Bobby Baxter, our Vice Principal Sir Mr. Sanatan Mukherjee, our Teacher in Charge Mr. Lionel Jennings, and our Junior School Coordinator Mrs. Cyril and Dave for their continuous support and encouragement on us. We want to thank each and every student of Julian Day School for participating in this magazine, and for those who are the audiences. We want to thank the teachers and the parents for continuing their support on us. Thank you.